The economy is back to pre-pandemic levels. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because apparently the good times are here and the economy is back to the pre-pandemic levels, at least according to the GDP figures published by the ABS. Now, before we go through a few things, let's just have a look at this chart here. You can see this here, these two measurements of economic decline. Look at that. That's our recession. That's the first recession we had in nearly 30 years. There are a lot of people that are working that have never experienced a recession before. This would be their first recession. There you go. The last one before this was when I was a child. That shows you how long ago it was. And now we've had 3 quarters of growth in our economy. So we're back at pre-pandemic levels, guys. Now let's have a look at a few things first. Let's look at the government coming to the rescue. Now, all of this economic growth that we have now, we have to appreciate the fact that it is because of a lot of government intervention in the economy. We've allowed businesses to trade while insolvent, everyone. Those levels, companies entering external administration, personal administration, are both lower than where they should be. And that's not me being mean. That's me just looking at this chart and going, this is what is happening during normal times. Look at this. The economy doesn't suddenly get good during a recession. It just gets flooded with money from the government. You've got JobKeeper, where we discussed the end of it, 56,000 jobs gone, but nearly 9% of those employed in Victoria in October last year were supported by this. You've got, well, there you go, these are the numbers. You've got juicing of the market, guys. Home builder, building approvals have shot up. They've come back down a little bit, which I haven't updated in this chart. We'll look at it in another video, but there you go. You've got the cash rate at 0.1%, even though some banks are starting to trickle up their rates. The RBA still has got it locked in at that level. You've got 5 and 2% home loans with a 2% deposit, thanks to the government. You've got the super withdrawals. You've got negative gearing, which is a long-term issue here in Australia, which is driving economic investment away from other things than housing. You know, if you've got home builder, you've got the first home grants, it's just nuts. You've got housing supply on the market that isn't at normal levels. I'd argue this is, well, councils, you know, they're whinging and complaining that they've got housing affordability issues. They've got people sleeping in the streets. What have they done to actually make it easy for people to develop housing? How many rules and regulations and hoops do you need to jump through? You've got the not in my backyard crowd, guys. And then we had the loan repayment deferrals. Who would have thought about that? But remember, it's not without a cost. By 2023-24, we're going to have 1.3 trillion in debt, everyone. And here's another thing I want to draw to your attention. That I'll just bring up this chart. I'm slowly, because I've moved computers, guys, I'm having to reprogram all these charts again with my Stream Deck. You can see here, this is GDP growth per capita. Now, this is from a video I did some time ago, looking at just all the data we have from per capita GDP growth and looking at it since the GFC. Now, what you can see there, that black line going across the screen, that is the trend. Now, we have been, most of the time, since the GFC, below trend. Our GDP has been growing, but on a per person basis, on a per capita basis, it's been growing below the trend. Below where it was in the past. So we're growing, fantastic. So the politician can say, look at GDP growth, it's going great, we're fantastic. But this could explain why some people aren't really feeling like it's getting better. One could even argue that our economy has been depressed. Our economic growth has been depressed since the GFC. So how can we say we're doing that good if our growth is below trend, guys? Is it worth the $1.3 trillion in debt that we have? So let's jump and have a look at the economy back to pre-pandemic levels. So we'll jump here. This is a media release from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. So, Australian gross domestic product rose 1.8% in seasonally adjusted chain volume terms in the March quarter 2021, according to figures released by the ABS today. Head of National Accounts at the ABS, Michael Smead, said 1.8% growth in the March quarter 2021. The Australian economic activity has recovered to be above pre-pandemic levels and has grown 1.1% throughout the year. Private investment rose 5.3% and contributed 0.9 percentage points to growth. Machinery and equipment investment recorded its strongest quarterly rise since December 2009, driven by the continued improvement in business confidence and support from government tax incentives, he added. The rise in machinery and equipment investment was widespread and observed in both mining and non-mining industries. Dwelling investment increased for the third consecutive quarter, rising 6.4%. The rise was consistent with the recent surge in building approvals as households took advantage of the home builder scheme. Now, the problem is, with the home builder scheme, this just shows you the government's, well, the government uses housing, uses the construction sector to stimulate the economy because they get the most bang for their buck. And I know they're going to, I'm probably the only architect in Australia that's publicly speaking out against the suggestion to put it into social housing. Whenever I go on LinkedIn, it's just so many architects just think social housing is the best thing. Why didn't we put that home builder money in public housing? Well, here's the thing. For every 15 grand they throw at you, you think is free money, you have to spend at least $150,000 yourself. So you're spending that pretty much in GST anyway. It's smart. It works well. They get, all it's doing is pulling projects forward and causing an overheating in the market. This is why it's crazy right now in the housing sector. I'm hoping it'll cool down soon. But you spend that on social housing, you don't get the same magnification. It's not about helping people get housing. It's not about giving rich Jimmy or Jill a new bathroom. It's about creating economic activity and ensuring money keeps flowing through the economy and using the tradies as that tool. That's what it is. Because honestly, I would advocate it's better to stimulate the economy and get people working and have the money flowing and get people in jobs and employment than to live in social housing. Social housing shouldn't be an aspiration for anyone. It should be, for the destitute and those that need it. But most people should be working and be in a situation where the housing market isn't manipulated so much that they can afford to get their own houses. Anyway, I've got another video we'll look at where the dream of home ownership is just slipping away even further for a lot of people. This is the K-shaped economy we have here. So, the gross value added of the construction industry rose 4.4% and recorded the strongest contribution to growth across all industries. They need to look at the government money that's been injected into these industries and then take it off GDP, shouldn't you, technically? GDP it's not really that useful a figure, but politically it's fantastic. That's the whole point of it. It's what everyone knows about. It's what the news jumps onto. Household spending increased 1.2% and added 0.7 percentage points to growth. Spending on services rose 2.4% as the pandemic restrictions continue to ease around Australia. Spending on goods declined 0.5%, but remained above pre-pandemic levels. The household savings to income ratio fell slightly, but remained elevated at 11.6%, as the rise in household spending outpaced the growth in household income. Compensation of employees rose 1.5% as employment and hours worked increased with underlying activity in the economy. A fall in benefit payments detracted from income growth, reflecting a decline in the number of recipients and winding back of additional COVID-19 support payments during the quarter. So if we jump here, we can see some more detailed information about this. And let's have a look. Chain volume measures per capita growth. From March 20 to 21, you can see it's grown slightly, ever so slightly. Productivity is up, real unit cost is down. Terms of trade are up, and GDP, current price measurements, are up. We can see here that growth, guys, shooting up in GDP. Quarterly growth in nominal GDP, in terms of trade, seasonally adjusted. And here's contributions. So public demand and private demand. So there you go. And what do we have here? Private investments, alterations and additions. So which is the orange. Business investment, which is the pink. New and used dwellings and ownership transfer. And then household final consumption has gone up. And here's the goods consumptions and services consumption. So services has shot right back up again, still below where it should be, or the trend, while goods consumption is slowly tapering off. And here's the household saving ratio. Look at that. So, yeah, has the fear dissipated from the market? Are we not saving as much anymore? How are you going, guys? Are you still saving frantically? And here's the contribution to disposable income, current price seasonally adjusted. What do we have here? So orange is the social assistance benefits. Look at that. There you go. Look at that. Wow. And it's been tapering off. It's been tapering off. But we're still nowhere near that level. That's nuts. That's why this is happening. And here's the sectors. So the ones that are going down, growth has been down for electricity, gas, retail, and information, as well as public administration and safety. Everything else has grown. Everything else has grown. And current prices, seasonally adjusted. Mining and non-mining contributions. So mining is lifting up, non-mining are down. And there you have the expenditures. So I'll let you go through the rest of this in greater detail. So guys, there we have it. We're back, apparently, at pre-pandemic levels. What do you reckon? I think the one takeaway from this that we have to remember and we have to push for is we need to ensure people appreciate the level of government intervention. Okay, let's not forget this. There's going to be a lot of people saying, fantastic, great. Then there'll be more calls for this intervention. This isn't what we want. You want an economy where the government steps back and lets the market have some freedom. What do you reckon? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one in the comments down below. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.